gay.
That was
Bam.
every word off that track was just rapped in the booth right now.
Yes,
right,
yes.
right
in the
now.
studio, we just got a live version of that song.
A live one.
And
it was the
live.
truth.
Chill.
And didn't have to pay. That is the best. What? 3 is my favorite word.
Yo, you're back in the building with your fave 3, Mike Curry, T Green, and Lady Zai. You're locked in right here to Lockdown Radio, 88.3 FM. And right now, in the building with us, we have legendary and just amazing hip-hop philanthropist and political activist and everything. Right in the building, we got Jasiri X and Mr. Paradise Gray. How y'all doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm just happy to be here, man, with the legendary y'all 3. You know what I'm saying?
What can we say? We're winners.
We're winners.
What can we say?
Winning, Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
Take a nap, Zai. Take a nap.
Take a nap.
So we wanted to talk to you too about this Troy Davis situation that is going on, and for the people out there who don't know what happened, could you explain to them what went on?
Yeah, Troy Davis was a young black man like many from in Savannah, Georgia. What happened was a police officer who was working security, he was shot and killed. He was trying to break up a fight, and one of the guy that was actually in the fight that he broke up went to the police and basically said Troy Davis shot this police officer. So because they got Troy Davis's name, he was, they put out a warrant for his arrest. They, put the wanted poster out on him. And basically, even though they had no physical evidence, they had no murder weapon, what the police did was they basically forced a group of witnesses to name Troy Davis and say Troy Davis actually did the murder. So Troy Davis was found guilty and sentenced to death. And then later on, as the truth began to get out, 7 out of the 9 eyewitnesses recanted their testimony, and they said that basically they were forced by the police to testify against Troy Davis. And so despite the fact that there was no physical evidence, there was no weapon, and that 7 out of these 9 eyewitnesses said that the police made them finger Troy Davis, he was still executed by the state of Georgia last week. I want to say, was it September 21st, 11:08 p.m., man. And so we say rest in peace, Troy Davis. But the fight goes on, you know what I'm saying? Because too many, especially young African-American men are languishing in prisons, many wrongfully convicted. You have Reggie Clemens in Missouri. It's one that comes to mind. And it's a shame that, we have a justice system that, is unable to correct itself.
Exactly.
That's very deep. Now, I wanted to ask you, as the hip-hop community, and more largely as the African-American community, what can we do as a people to help stop the injustice in America?
Well, that was there was a lot of positives that came out of Troy Davis' situation. One, just the beautiful way that he conducted and carried himself. He never made it just about him and his case. He was always talking about the other Troy Davises out there. And so you saw the hip-hop community really come together and raise its voice, and we saw how social media like Facebook and Twitter basically got the word out. And so, on the day where we were really trying to save him, you had Big Boy from Outkast was really instrumental in organizing. In fact, he organized actually a protest to go down to the prison the day of and Killer Mike. And so you had people like Diddy tweeting about it, Talib Kweli, David Banner. You had a lot of hip-hop artists really putting it out there and informing their fans about who Troy Davis was, so much so that who is Troy Davis became a trending topic. And a lot of people began to find out about the case, and you really saw this unity between the NAACP, a new organization like Color Change, Amnesty International, and so I just hope that we continue. I think we showed, like hip-hop showed, how powerful it can be when we're all unified behind one singular message. Even though Troy Davis was executed, I think it was a sign of what we can do to begin to get some of these issues. And a lot of times when it comes to us and our people, it's not going to be on CNN. It's definitely not going to be on Fox. But because we have Facebook, because we have Twitter, and we're so interconnected now, we can get out these stories and put it out there and let the world know about it. And that's what you saw happen. So I'm hoping that it continues, man, and we find out some more cases and really begin to be proactive about what we can do to improve our community and make it better.
Nice.
That was a deep answer.
So, Mr. Paradise Gray, how's this affected you? What did you take away from this incident?
To me, it's just politics as usual in America. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I didn't learn nothing new. I knew they weren't going to stop his execution, but that didn't stop me from working hard. We have plenty of cases of injustice right here in Pittsburgh.
True.
There's a case of a young man named Joseph Hall, who was 17 years old when the police convicted him of a murder in Homewood that he didn't commit. And you can go to Makati.com and learn more about that. That's MACOTI.com, Mothers Against Conviction of the Innocent. And I urge all young people, because Joseph Hall was 17 years old when it happened to him, there's nothing to stop it from happening to y'all. So if y'all get involved in one of these cases, adopt somebody who has been convicted wrongly and learn how to work with their family to work for justice. I think that would be something good that we could get out of these things. And always remember that Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks were teenagers when they got involved in the civil rights movement. And many of the big wins that we had in the civil rights movement were led by children. So really do not think that because you're young that you can't make a big difference. No, we will only win when the voices of our young people are once again heard, and y'all are the leaders that I look up to. And I just want to encourage y'all to get out there, because I don't want to see you be the next Joseph Hall or the next Troy Davis.
That's deep. The power of the youth. The power of the youth. Now, Jasiri, you have a song called I Am Troy, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the significance of the title?
Yeah, well, basically when we found out that, they had set a date for Troy Davis's execution, we wanted to know what we could do. I signed the petitions, but what else could we do? So I said, well, man, I could write a song. And so I used one of the most famous and prolific hip-hop songs of all time called They Reminisce Over You by P-Rock and CL Smooth, because, of course, the acronym is Troy, Troy. And, I just wanted to tell his story and create a video around it, which, could... And I guess in 3 minutes and 45 seconds, you can kind of get a gist of what happened in the case and why you should get involved. And what was so powerful to me was the first video we produced in our new media academy, which we started to teach especially young African-American men how to analyze media and create their own media. So this is I Am Troy Davis, and really a call to get involved in his case. And, I'm Troy Davis because as a young black man, somebody could give my name to police and I could end up in the same situation. And so definitely my condolences to him and his family. And, we're going to still be making, music, hopefully, that inspires and educates.
Well, Jasiri, do you think if hip-hop community would have got out and got in touch with their fans quicker and faster and made it a daily issue, like for months and years since he was convicted, you think we could have stopped his execution? I think so. I think that, to me, that's one of the things, we really, and I think, it was a lot of artists that we didn't hear from, to be honest with you. A lot of big artists that we hear from when they promote their albums, and they want them to be number one on the charts, that we didn't hear from. And I think that as consumers, man, as fans, we have to start holding some of these artists accountable to say, look, man, you in the spotlight, you got the number one album, you on MTV. That why are you afraid to speak to issues that directly affect us in our community? And then maybe if they don't do that, man, maybe we don't buy the album or support them until they grow some heart, in terms of to speak out. So, I do think that if hip hop is more involved on a daily basis, I like money and, nice cars and clothes too. I'm going to keep it real, but it's a balance, man. And without, your family there, and without justice and truth and freedom, all of that means nothing. That changes because it comes a chain like they put on the slaves, So really, rappers, athletes, all these people, all the way up to the President of the United States, who was silent in the case of Troy Davis, man. We just got to start, man. Really, if we're going to say we about truth and freedom and justice, they need to be about it or shut the hell up, Hey. But do you think it's the background, like the music industry and the sponsors and the funders that don't support these kind of topics that make these big time rappers just silent?
Do you hear this, man? Man, we got some cold leaders on this microphone. That's exactly what it is. I mean, and it's really, for instance, just to take you into the athletes piece, right? And I know we got to wrap up. A friend of mine interviewed Carmelo Anthony, and he said, man, Carmelo, how come we don't see the NBA players speaking out on the lockout like you heard from the NFL? And Carmelo said, we're not allowed. You know what I'm saying? And really what you have is a situation where rappers, athletes, entertainers, to be marketable means to be quiet in the face of these type of injustices, because if you speak out, you know, then you're considered an angry black man, or you might offend somebody that might want to buy your shoes or buy your album. So a lot of these artists play it safe, man, and ride the fence. And you know, but we get to a point where, like I said, I mean, if you're going to keep playing it safe, you're going to keep riding the fence, I mean, a person like me might have to call you out, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, exactly. I might be put in a position where I have a little bit of a wider audience, and if I do, some people's cars going to get pulled, you know?
That's exactly what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
That's what you got to do. Tell the truth always. Even if it hurts people's feelings, you got to tell the truth.
That's what I think. Yeah. I agree.
You got to keep it real. But we'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for coming through and spreading your wisdom with us. Man. And of course, always come back. You're always welcome.
And then know that, man, when we're not here, we listening to the hottest radio show in Pittsburgh and on the internet worldwide. Hip hop is on lock. Believe it.
That's right, y'all. Keep it on lock.
Hey, keep it on lock. Lockdown Radio.